New at 6 and only on 5, the defense attorney for one of the former Memphis police officers found not guilty in the beating death of Tyre Nichols speaks out about the verdict and the backlash that's come with it.
Longtime defense attorney Martin Zummach represented former officer Justin Smith in a case that drew international attention tonight. He tells Jerry Askin jurors got it right.
Candidly, the result was what I wanted, what I expected, frankly. But I knew the story of Justin Smith.
For the first time since former Memphis police officer Justin Smith was acquitted on state charges in the beating death of Tyre Nichols, Smith's attorney, Martin Zummach, sat down with me exclusively to discuss the case and the jury's verdict.
Once the jury understood what an officer is facing out there, once they understood that and understood that what their risks were in pulling someone over that was not stopping, I believe that rung true for them.
Earlier this month, Justin Smith, Tadarius Bean, and Demetrius Haley were found not guilty on charges of second-degree murder, aggravated assault, aggravated kidnapping, official misconduct, and official oppression. The defense called 17 witnesses and throughout the trial claimed Tyre Nichols refused to comply and resisted arrest following a traffic stop in January of 2023. The prosecution, who called only 5 witnesses, claimed this body camera and Skycop video shows the officers beating Nichols as others held him down. Nichols died 3 days after the encounter.
I'm only going to speak about my client, Justin Smith. The allegation was that Justin Smith held Tyre Nichols so that he could be beaten. The physiological facts, the use of force and human factors experts said no, they weren't holding him so he could be struck. They were trying to get his arms behind his back. If he comes up with the right arm free and he's not been searched, with 90% of all suspects stopped being armed, that's a good way for police officers to get killed.
Do you think your character witnesses and really painting Justin Smith as a good officer helped your case?
I didn't paint him as a good officer. He was a good officer, period. I had people from OCU and patrol lining up wanting to come in and testify for Justin Smith.
Judge James Jones presided over the case and approved a change of venue request to find a fair and impartial jury outside of Shelby County. Hamilton County was chosen because the case received less pretrial publicity in that part of the state. The final jury was all white, 8 women, 4 men. Do you believe the all-white jury or this final jury impacted the verdict?
No.
So what do you say to people who say the jury got this whole thing wrong?
So for anyone who was not there every day hearing the proof to say anything about what the jury got right or wrong, I think is presumptuous at best. Furthermore, I think it's racist.
You mentioned racist, but what makes it racist and not just the fact that the jury was all white?
Anyone and everyone saying that does not understand what the jury pool was in Hamilton County and how many were put in the box and how many of them were excused for cause and what their race was. They forget that a jury from Shelby County, West Tennessee, already tried these guys once, and they unanimously acquitted Justin Smith in the federal trial of having caused any harm to Tyre Nichols.
But Justin Smith was convicted on witness tampering on the federal level.
Right.
Last October, a federal jury convicted Smith, Bean, and Haley of witness tampering related to covering up the beating of Tyre Nichols, but found the officers not guilty of excessive force resulting in death. Bean and Smith were also acquitted on other federal charges.
It was a slap in my family's face.
One day after the more recent acquittals in the state trial, Nichols' family and community activists held a rally outside the National Civil Rights Museum calling for more police accountability. Shelby County DA Steve Moyroy, whose office prosecuted the case, commended his trial team despite their loss. Tyre's mom told the crowd she was disappointed by the jury's decision.
It was a total shock, because that just basically told me that the jurors didn't see the evidence. All they saw was a black man running.
And what do you say to Tyre's mother, community activists out there, and supporters of Tyre's family who say, we've seen the video of the officers, they say, beating Tyre Nichols. These are murderers.
My heartfelt sympathy goes out to Rovon Wells and Rodney, okay? But that's about the extent of it. All these other people that have weighed in and said what they said, the inflammatory things that they've said, I'm not going to respond to. They're not worth responding to.
Up next is a civil case against the officers and the city of Memphis. Tyre's family is asking for $550 million and Zummach will represent Justin Smith in that case as well.
When the truth comes out, I don't see a monetary value in that case. This man's been unemployed now for 2.5 years as a result of this. It was not just the Nichols family and the Wells family that have suffered through this. Justin Smith's family has suffered through this as well. And so has Tadarius Bean's family, and I'm sure the other defendants' families.
And just for clarity, how have they suffered?
Being called murderers, being called rogue cops.
Attorney Martin Zummach told me some of the jurors in the state trial actually reached out to the defense team after the verdict to compliment them on a job well done. He also told me one of the jurors deciding the officer's fate was an 18-year-old high school senior. A sentencing date for the officer's federal convictions has not been set. I'm Jerry Askin, Action News 5.
For complete coverage of the Tyre Nichols case, as well as Jerry's sit-down exclusive interviews with Tyre's mom and stepdad last fall, head to actionnews5.com and click on the Tyre Nichols tab on our homepage.